You didn't land here by chance. You were drawn here by destiny. There's a reason your spirit lit up when you read those words. Deep down, something already knows. This is your moment. Not just a good moment, not just a lucky break, but a kairos moment, a sacred intersection between heaven's agenda and your personal assignment. You've been feeling the shift, haven't you? That inner stirring, that quiet pull, that sense that something bigger is unfolding, even if you can't explain it. That's not anxiety, that's alignment. The universe, the divine, the creator, whatever name speaks to your soul, has been positioning you, preparing you, and now it's your time to walk in it fully. This is your confirmation. You are not lost. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are right on time. Every detour was direction. Every delay was development. And now, the gates are cracking open. The light is shifting. The energy around you is accelerating. The old you can't walk through this new door because this version of you was born for it. So take a deep breath, settle in, and stay with me. This isn't just information, it's transformation. Every word ahead is designed to ignite what's already inside you. And if anything in you is already starting to feel seen, understood, and stirred, you're in the right place. Drop a 55 in the comments if you feel it. Not just as a sign, but as a signal. Let the universe know, I'm ready. Because chosen one, you're not just here to watch something happen. You're here to remember who you are. Let's begin. You are not here by accident. If you feel the pull, the knowing deep inside that you are chosen, this is your moment. Click the super thank you button and give $20 or more to unlock deeper insights, exclusive content, and a path that aligns with your divine purpose. This isn't just a contribution, it's a declaration, a step toward who you were meant to be. Answer the call, walk with us, and step fully into your destiny. Your journey begins now. And let us not grow weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Galatians 6:9. You know what that means, right? It means heaven keeps record when man forgets. It means if you didn't quit, you didn't lose. And it means due season is not a myth, it's a promise. You've been sowing in tears, sowing in silence, sowing in faith. And now, the clouds are shifting. Now the sky is cracking open. Now the season you thought passed you by is about to arrive right on time. See, there's something sacred about waiting that no one talks about. It's not glamorous, it's not fun, but it forms you. Waiting shapes your character while the world is chasing spotlight. And while others were sprinting toward what looked like success, you were walking with God in the quiet. Others saw delay. Heaven called it development. You've lived long enough under pressure that didn't even have your name on it. Expectations that wore you out. Schedules that made you feel behind. You tried to meet demands that weren't designed for your soul, and in doing so, you almost forgot how to breathe, how to dream, how to just be. But something is shifting now. The beat of your life is changing. What used to feel like a race now feels like a rhythm. A rhythm set not by the clock on the wall, but by the compass of heaven. You're not marching to borrowed time anymore. You're not reacting to pressure. You're moving with purpose. The divine calendar just flipped, and your name is written across the page in bold. The things you thought you missed, they were waiting for you to be ready. You weren't late. You were just still becoming. Because let's be honest, the world teaches you to chase, to perform, to compare, to hustle harder. But it never tells you what to do when the lights go off and you still feel empty. It doesn't teach you how to rest without guilt. It doesn't teach you that peace is a strategy, and so you tried to fit into a system that never saw your spirit. You tried to earn what God already assigned. That's why nothing ever felt enough. But now, everything changes. You've stepped into a moment that doesn't respond to striving. It responds to alignment. You don't have to force what fits. You don't have to beg for what belongs to you. What's meant for you is being magnetized toward you, not because of your hustle, but because of your honor. This next chapter doesn't run on performance. It runs on promise. This is where peace returns, not because life got quiet, but because you got clear. You're no longer chasing applause. You're chasing assignment. You're not looking to impress. You're looking to impact. You're not driven by fear of missing out. You're led by the certainty of divine timing. And listen, it's not just about what's coming. It's about who you are becoming. You're lighter now, wiser, sharper. Your discernment has deepened. Your vision is clearer. And your spirit, it's finally moving to the rhythm of something holy, something real, something that doesn't expire when the trends change. This is what it feels like when your life syncs up with the voice of your Creator. This is what it feels like when you stop dancing to noise and start flowing with truth. So no, you're not behind. You're right on schedule. The old rhythm had to die so your real life could begin. Walk boldly into it. Heaven's not asking you to sprint. Heaven's asking you to flow. You're not late. You're on time. This is not business as usual. This is the moment the atmosphere changes for you. A shift that doesn't come from force, but from spiritual alignment. You're not being pulled forward by pressure. You're being lifted by timing that knows your name. Things that didn't make sense before will begin falling into place with ease. The heavy resistance that defined your journey up until now will start giving way to momentum. You're not just entering a better season. You're stepping into divine rhythm. The kind of flow that opens doors without you knocking. The kind of timing that places you exactly where you need to be, with no detour or delay. But this isn't just about arrival. It's about readiness. This is why certain connections feel disconnected, why familiar places feel foreign, why routines that once felt comfortable now feel confining. You've shifted on the inside, and now everything around you is catching up. You're no longer available for what doesn't align with your higher assignment. The preparation was never pointless. The solitude, the waiting, the resistance, it all strengthened your capacity. Now, you are being positioned for something greater, not to prove your worth, but to walk boldly in it. You're stepping into a space that was crafted with your growth in mind. A space where timing doesn't push you to the edge. It meets you in perfect harmony. You're not just in a new chapter, you're in a new tempo. The tension you feel isn't pressure, it's positioning. The shift isn't about speed, it's about divine coordination, and it's already begun. The internal clock of your purpose just struck now. Everything is aligning, not for delay, but for release. Not for hustle, but for harvest. The moment isn't coming. It's here. You know what it is to walk through fire without a witness, to hold yourself up when everything around you is crumbling. You didn't just go through the hard seasons, you grew through them. And while it may have felt like silence, stillness, or even rejection, something deeper was being formed in the unseen. That season was not an interruption, it was instruction. The pressure wasn't there to crush you, it was there to carve out what couldn't go with you into your next level. While you longed for answers, for movement, for change, a higher plan was unfolding. The pause was not passive, it was purposeful. And though it stretched you, it never abandoned you. Every difficult moment worked on your behalf, sanding away what was shallow and rooting you into something lasting. The loneliness made you listen differently. The loss made you see clearly. What once felt like a setback became sacred space for self-discovery. You stopped looking outward for validation and started tuning into a deeper wisdom. You weren't being ignored, you were being refined. The delay was a proving ground, not a prison. Every unnoticed act of kindness, every hard decision made in integrity, every time you chose to keep believing when giving up would have been easier. Those were not wasted days. They were bricks laid in quiet, building a foundation that would not crumble under the weight of what's coming. You were never being kept from your breakthrough. You were being prepared to carry it. You had to let go of the old frameworks, the broken mindsets, the labels given to you in fear. The detours were never random. They were recalibrations. Everything you shed was making room for the strength, clarity, and identity you'd need to sustain what you asked for. This is why it didn't happen sooner. This is why the door wouldn't open when you knocked. Because the future needed you strong, not scattered, whole, not hidden, not just present, but ready. Not everyone will understand the process, but the outcome will be undeniable. You didn't skip steps. You didn't fake the work. And because of that, what is coming will stick. You don't arrive empty-handed. You walk in full, carrying resilience, discernment, and authority. The wilderness didn't weaken you. It taught you how to command the room without raising your voice. The pain didn't make you bitter. It taught you where not to return. Now, the season shifts, and when the moment comes, it will feel like home. Not because it's easy, but because you were made for it. This wasn't punishment, it was preparation. And now, the preparation is complete. Dear brothers and sisters, may the peace of God fill your hearts today. I come to remind you of a profound truth. Our lives are firmly established in God's divine purpose, untouched by the fleeting worries of this world. As Scripture tells us, give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. Luke 6:38. Like the mighty oak whose roots are planted deep in rich soil, our foundation is anchored in God's eternal truth. Every move we make, every stand we take, is upheld by His enduring strength. Today, you have the opportunity to participate in this divine blessing. By clicking the Super Thank You button and offering a gift of $50, you will sow into a harvest that will return to you many times over in God's abundant grace. There's a shift happening within you that no one else can quite explain, but you feel it. You don't move the way you used to, and it's not because you're confused, it's because you're aligned. This isn't the unraveling of your mind, it's the awakening of your spirit. You are seeing clearer, feeling deeper, and hearing things beneath the surface that others still ignore. That's not imagination. That's insight. That's what happens when timing meets purpose. The atmosphere around you is changing. Moments that seem small are loaded with meaning. Faces you weren't expecting show up with answers you didn't ask out loud. Pathways begin to curve toward you without force. Things are clicking, and not because you've worked harder, but because something greater has gone ahead of you to make the crooked straight. This isn't coincidence. This is divine setup. You've outgrown shallow pursuits. What once thrilled you now feels loud and empty. The distractions don't pull at your focus anymore because you've started craving stillness, clarity, truth. What used to tempt you now reveals its limits. That is not boredom, it's elevation. Your appetite has changed because your soul has matured. You no longer chase noise. You listen for truth. There's a calm rising inside you that's unbothered by the chaos around you. A knowing that doesn't need confirmation. That's not pride. It's placement. You aren't guessing anymore. You've stepped into rhythm with something eternal. This is not the product of striving. This is what alignment feels like. Doors are swinging open, not because you force them, but because they're attached to your name. Meetings that were never scheduled are happening right on time. Things that once felt delayed are now arriving with ease. You aren't forcing outcomes, you're following guidance. And as the outside catches up with what's been shifting on the inside, your path unfolds without resistance. You're not who you were, and you won't return to that version. What's fallen away wasn't taken, it was cleared. What was denied wasn't rejection, it was redirection. The absence of approval doesn't faze you because you now move on assignment, not applause. This season feels surreal not because it's fantasy, but because it's unfamiliar. You're used to waiting, fighting, pushing, but now you're experiencing flow. You're no longer pressed by urgency, you're pulled by purpose. That deep peace in your belly, that stillness even when logic says worry, that's divine order at work. You didn't conjure this moment. It was always set apart for you. And now that it's here, there's no need to force or fear. This is not coincidence. This is your confirmation. It's your time. Because the timing is right. And you are ready. Everything around you is about to pick up speed. Not because you're rushing, but because alignment has finally met assignment. You've been walking through what felt like cement, dragging purpose through resistance, watching others seem to leap while you learn to crawl. But that was never stagnation. It was sacred development. And now, the tempo changes. Momentum arrives. What used to feel like delay now unfolds with effortless motion. Doors that once felt bolted shut begin to swing wide without you knocking. The plans you tucked away for someday now come alive without warning. Conversations you didn't expect, resources you stopped praying for, and visions you almost forgot start surfacing again. But this time, they're attainable, tangible, right here. You're not riding luck. You're reaping from labor the world never saw. Late nights, private tears, internal battles, none of it wasted. You didn't skip the lessons. You let the fire shape you. And that's why, when things start moving, they move fast. You're not being rushed. You're being released. Those around you may be shocked. They'll assume it's sudden, but you know better. This moment was never rushed. It was reserved. It wasn't a shortcut. It was the unveiling. And because you didn't compromise the process, the outcome now multiplies. Your patience has become a harvest. Your obedience has matured into access. People might recognize your name now, but heaven always did. This is not luck. This is divine pacing. And while others try to catch up by force, you accelerate by flow. Your elevation is not loud or flashy. It's grounded. It's certain. It doesn't have to announce itself because it commands the atmosphere when you walk in the room. The timing doesn't just favor you, it belongs to you. You've been positioned, not passed over. And this acceleration doesn't exhaust you, it empowers you. Because you no longer operate from survival, you operate from surrender. No more chasing, no more proving. You've shifted from hustle to holy momentum. This season, you don't force what fits. You step into what's already been fitted for you. Connections show up without manipulation. Strategy flows without pressure. Answers come before you ask. The path lights up not because you made noise, but because your silence carried weight. You've graduated from hoping it will happen to knowing it is. It's not about doing more. It's about being in sync. You're not on anyone else's timeline. You're not behind. You're not off track. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. And what felt slow was never denial. It was design. Now watch what happens when divine timing lifts the lid. What should have taken decades will now take days. Not because you've changed strategies, but because you've grown into the version of yourself who can handle it. Walk boldly now. This isn't chaos, it's confirmation. You're not speeding up, you're catching up to what's already yours. There comes a point when hesitation is no longer humility, it's disobedience. You've crossed that line. You've outgrown shrinking, second-guessing, and waiting for confirmation from voices that were never qualified to speak over your future. The moment is active. The signal has been sent. The shift is here, and it's calling you to walk like you're aware of what's been placed in your hands. This is not the season to lower your voice or hide your brilliance just to make others feel safe. You weren't called to stay small so someone else could stay comfortable. You weren't shaped in the shadows just to dim your presence when the light hits. You've been appointed for something weighty, and it's time to carry it like you know it's real. Every decision now matters. The way you speak, the posture you carry, the people you allow close. None of it can be accidental. This moment is not about approval. It's about alignment. Stop asking for green lights from those who don't even have the map. They didn't walk through your wilderness. They didn't bleed in your becoming. You don't owe them an explanation. You owe your Creator execution. You're not simply stepping into opportunity. You're stepping into responsibility. You're not a follower of trends. You're a steward of vision. The invitation on your life carries weight, and the way you move now must reflect that. You're not waiting to be discovered. You've already been designated. This isn't ego, it's clarity. Boldness is no longer optional. It's required. You're not performing for the crowd. You're answering to the call. The doors that are opening didn't crack by coincidence. They were designed for your arrival. And now that you're stepping through them, you must do so with confidence rooted in conviction. There is no space for distractions, no tolerance for energy leaks. You've sacrificed too much to let confusion in through the side door. Protect your mental clarity. Guard your emotional stamina. Not everyone deserves access, not because you're elitist, but because your vision is sacred. Your movements must reflect maturity. Your choices must echo discernment. The time for blending in is over. You're not here to repeat patterns. You're here to interrupt them. You're not here to fit in. You're here to rebuild the framework. So don't backpedal into comfort zones that can't contain your capacity. You've been entrusted with a new level. Speak like it. Walk like it. Decide like it. Heaven has already made its move. Now it's your turn to respond with precision. No more rehearsing your role. The curtain has lifted, and the assignment is live. This isn't about hype. This is about holy awareness. Something divine has arrived, and how you carry yourself will either mirror that truth or delay its manifestation. So stand tall, walk forward, make decisions with fire in your belly and peace in your chest. You're not just passing through a moment, you are the moment. When your life begins to rise, so does everything hidden around you. What once blended in becomes unmistakably visible. The higher you go, the more truth is revealed, not just about your path, but about the people on it. The shift you feel right now isn't imagined. It's real, and it's necessary. You're not breaking down. You're breaking through. Now is the moment to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. With a donation of $100 or more, you can actively participate in his divine mission and contribute to his greater plan. Every offering you make reflects the boundless generosity of God, and I trust it will return to you abundantly, far exceeding your hopes. Always remember, his protection and blessing accompany your every step and every act of giving. You are a vital part of his sacred design. You are strong and radiant, steadfast like his mighty rock. Experience God's miracles. Feel the rewards of your generosity deep within your soul, and shine your light with boldness and faith. May you be richly blessed, and may the light of the Lord continually guide your journey. This is the season where motives are no longer masked, where conversations behind your back start sounding like confirmation instead of betrayal. Don't panic when the circle shrinks. Don't grieve too long when old connections dissolve without closure. This is not punishment, this is precision. The separation isn't failure, it's divine filtering. Some faces fade, not because you've changed for the worse, but because you've been chosen for more. There are individuals who cannot access your next level, not because they're evil, but because they were only assigned to your previous one. The disconnection is protection. You're not losing, they're being released. And yes, it stings, especially when it's people you rooted for, people you covered, people you trusted. But heaven does not expose for drama. It exposes to preserve. Every uncomfortable revelation is a safeguard. Every betrayal is a closing chapter. And every shift is preparation for where you're heading. As the layers peel back, your discernment sharpens. The distractions don't distract like they used to. The gossip doesn't pierce like it used to. You've stopped needing to defend your growth to those who were never designed to grow with you. You owe no one your energy, only your obedience to the assignment that called you. There's a reason some doors shut without explanation. Some invitations don't return. Some applause goes silent. You weren't meant to be carried by approval. You were meant to walk in power, and power doesn't beg for validation. It stands. This is the divine trade-off: exposure for elevation. You lose access to what was counterfeit, so you can receive what is consecrated. You let go of what's draining, so you can rise in what's sustaining. And what used to wound you now fuels your clarity. You are being set apart, not set aside. The disruption you feel is actually confirmation. What looks like chaos is your covering being reshaped. It's your atmosphere being cleared of anything misaligned. This isn't punishment, it's positioning. Some will whisper, others will walk away. Let them. They don't see what heaven sees when it looks at you. They don't feel what your purpose is pushing through you. And that's okay, because your calling is not a group project. It's a divine mission. And now, you rise, not with bitterness, but with boundaries, not with vengeance, but with vision. Your name is being called forward, and no opposition can cancel that call. Every obstacle cleared the stage. Every loss created capacity. Every unmasking was a mercy. You're not just stepping into promotion. You're stepping into protection. Walk it out with peace. Your elevation doesn't need approval. It's already been sealed. You've endured. You've pressed through the dark nights, and you kept walking when the road gave you no signs. What looked like delay was divine development. What felt like silence was sacred strategy. Every step was planting purpose, even when you couldn't see what was growing beneath the surface. But now the soil opens. Now the season turns. This is the moment where it all begins to unfold. The invisible begins to take shape. The fruit of your obedience starts to show. No more wondering if it was worth it. No more questioning if you missed it. You didn't. What you've been carrying in hope is now ready to be delivered in fullness. The labor wasn't in vain. The stretching, the pruning, the private breakthroughs, all of it positioned you for this unveiling. You're not arriving empty. You're stepping in prepared, poured into, and fully aligned. What once required constant effort now begins to flow naturally. Favor finds you. Provision locates you. Destiny meets you on the path you almost gave up walking. Everything that once seemed stuck now begins to move, suddenly, swiftly, steadily. The places where you felt overlooked are now recognizing your presence. The places that once said, "Not yet," are now saying, "Welcome home." You're not chasing breakthrough anymore. You're walking in it.